Welcome to Team Rocket Garage. I'm going to show you some basics about wheel setup, buying wheels, and tire fitment for your car, and this one big safety feature that you need to know for aftermarket wheels. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Hit the subscribe button. Sorry about the dog in the background. I can't do anything about that. So what we're working on here is wheel setup. Now these wheels are 14-inch diameter, 6 inches wide. Offset is, I believe, 45, 4x100, Lug Pattern, and the tires are 185/60/14. So I'll break down what a couple of those things mean here, and then we can kind of go from there once you know what all of those terms mean. So this is a Kosei wheel. It's a Japanese wheel, Kosei Racing, pretty decent wheel. Now, most wheels won't have all of this information on the outside, especially your cheaper eBay and Amazon type ones. No problem with those, but yeah. So these are Kosei Racing wheels. We can see that 14x6 right there. So this is a 14-inch diameter. Now the wheel itself from here to here is not going to be 14. It'll be like 14 and a half, 14 and a third, but the mounting surface is a 14-inch diameter. Looking at this wheel that's not mounted on a vehicle, you can actually see right here how there's the lip itself, and then this is the mounting surface for the tire itself. So when the tire goes on, it actually pops over this, and that's called setting the bead. Woo! But this is why the size of the wheel here is not the actual mounting size of the wheel there. That's so the tire doesn't slide off that direction. So that's thing number one. That's the most important thing stylistically. Tire size, tire availability, everything is the diameter. Now, what is pretty close to as important is width. That's how wide the wheel is from the mounting surface here to the rear mounting surface. Now, we are looking at the road surface portion of the tire here. This is a Shampiro GT Radial, and at some point I'll have a review on this tire down below, and I'll link that. But now while we're looking right here, there's a lot of information that justifies how this fits and how it looks. So first off, we've got the width of the wheel, which is the width. So the tire itself, if it's mounted on the wheel, kind of like this one is, it's a little balloony. If it becomes wider, you get some of that tire stretch that you see on like stanced cars. And you can go super far in between this kind of balloony, all the way stretched, big, massive, whatever you like. There's tons of stylistic choices on that. Now the offset is something I'll show you more of once we get the wheel off, so hang on for that. So we've got the 185/65/14 right here, and that's the tire size. So the 14 at the end is the diameter. So your wheel diameter, if that's 14, the tire needs to end in that R14. That means that you've got a 14-inch tire, 14-inch wheel, pretty decent industry standards. You've got those all the way from about 12 in some extreme cases, all the way to 28 or higher in some other extreme cases. The size of the tire matters a lot less than the quality of the tire. And then you've got your 60. So we've got our 185 right here, 185 wide in millimeters. And then we've got 60, which is 60% of that 185 is the distance of the sidewall here from the wheel all the way to the tread of the tire. So 60% of 185 is in the realm of 110. So that's how many millimeters that would be for a total diameter of 14 plus 110 twice. So we've got ourselves roughly a 24-inch diameter on this tire. Diameter really matters. So when you're getting upgraded wheels and tires, the overall diameter needs to match what you've got on your car right now. If it's too big or too small, the speedometer won't read correctly, and also it'll look weird in the wheel well if it's too small or too large. So make sure that overall diameter matches, and I'll put a really good tool for all of this down in the description. The reason I'm doing all of this is because there is nothing carrying the wheel here, and also these lug nuts look like absolute crap. So we're gonna pop this wheel off, fix that, talk about some offset. That way you can go and buy some wheels yourself, and then we're gonna get rid of these ugly, rusty lug nuts. You'll notice that these lug nuts here, they don't look like a conventional lug nut. You might have some on your car if it's already been modified, but cars don't come with these types of lug nuts. These are splined lug nuts. So you can kind of see how the lug nut itself has these little splines, and it's got the special adapter so it can, boop, go right in there, and then you connect it to your standard nut and ratchet. One thing that's cool about these is they make it difficult to steal your wheels, because these adapters are honestly a little bit hard to come by. You can get them pretty easy on the internet now, but unless you're walking around with one in your pocket, you're not going to be able to steal my wheels. So what we're going to do, pop these off, and we'll use our spline tool to do that. One thing just to be careful though is that these are pretty sensitive, their coating and everything, so you don't want to use an impact on them. Hand tools only. We'll go ahead and lift the car the rest of the way up. Hoping my new lug nuts are the right thread pattern here. 12mm by 1.25 right hand. Now, as far as replacing your lug nuts, there is really only two things that are important. Firstly is, well, if they look good, that's the third thing. But the two things that are important here is the base right there. The industry standard is this funnel shape that's called conical. There's also a ball type, which is really uncommon. But if your lug nuts are rounded instead of flat angle right there, you've got the ball type ones, and you got to get the special. But then there's also thread pitch. This Gorilla lug nut is a pretty high quality one, but it's a M12, which is metric 12mm by 1.25 thread pitch. And we can see on this old one, it says 12mm, 1.25. So that means that we've got the same thread pitch and everything. So these will be a good replacement. Now you can see that the tire is kind of pushing out, and that's pushing on the lug nut, making it more difficult to get to. With just my hand right here, I can do it, but if you just go ahead and put your foot right up against there, makes it way easier, so the wheel isn't sitting on the lug nut itself. You're also avoiding scratches and scuffs in there. Now this wheel is only 9.5 pounds, so it's real easy to take off. All right, now the next thing you want to know about wheel and tire fitment is offset. Now typically, if you've got a common car, Miata, Corolla, Sentra, Honda Civic, those are all going to share pretty similar fitment, so you can just buy off-the-shelf wheels. But if you have something special, you know, less common, you might actually have to measure it out yourself. Again, I put a tool down in the description that helps you visualize that. It's called Wheel Will Fit, or willtheyfit.com. It's down there in the description, and it really makes life easy because you can just visualize it and then measure your actual car, and you'll know if they fit or don't. Now, when you're looking at an aftermarket set of wheels like this, all of the information on any decent wheel is going to be stamped on the inside of the wheel itself. So we've got this right here, 4H100. That's a 4x100 lug pattern, which means that the opposing lugs here are 100 millimeters center from side across. 100 millimeters, roughly 4 inches. I think that's actually 4 inches and 1 millimeter, but close enough. So you can measure that yourself. Put a link in the description for a good tool to show you how to do that. Next up here, we've got the weight rating. It says 505 kilograms. That's the maximum weight rating for this singular wheel. And then also right here, it shows offset plus 38. So this is a plus 38 millimeter offset. I'll tell you about that in a second. But typically, if it doesn't say the size on the front here, like this one does, it'll say the size on the back. And that's typically going to be, you know, for Honda Civic, Mazda Miata, Sentra, something like that. 14 by 6, 15 by 7, 16 by 8, something like that. And of course, there's plus or minus. There's wider, smaller wheels, etc. The next most important thing is to understand what offset actually is. Now, offset is the position of the wheel mounting surface within the center of the wheel, right? We've got a tire here, but the wheel's in the middle. So if you have a 0 offset, that means that the mounting surface for your wheel, which is this, that actually mounts to the car, is exactly in the middle. So if this is a 6-inch wide wheel, it would be 3 inches in from that surface and 3 inches away from this outside surface, which centers the tire. However, most vehicles have suspensions that poke out, so positive offset is important. Positive offset means that the wheel mounting surface goes outward towards the face of the wheel. That's the outside or the visible side of the wheel. So this is a plus 38, which means that if the offset were 0, we could go 38 millimeters over and be able to touch our wheel mounting surface. I know this is a lot of information, so feel free to watch the video or comment below what I missed, didn't cover, or just rewatch the video in more detail. Now that we're here, we're talking about the safety issue that I'm addressing on my aftermarket wheels. And it's nothing to do with Nissan, and it's nothing to do with Kosei either. It's something to do with me. It's something that I didn't do and I've never done on this car in the 7 years that I've owned it. So has it been a safety issue? No, my wheels didn't fall off, but it still is a safety issue and we want to address it. So in the interest of safety, because we don't have a jack stand here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this tire underneath the car. So if the jack fails, it'll land on the tire. Now, the next and most overlooked thing, and it's a safety thing on every aftermarket wheel install, and everybody will say, just get wheels that fit. But like, I'm going to order custom made wheels for my 1994 Sentra. I don't know. I got these for like $200 on Marketplace. They're 9.5 pounds. They're flow formed. Like, they're great wheels. They just need a little bit of adjustment to work for my scenario. Now, most aftermarket wheels that aren't designed for a specific car in mind are going to have what's called a center bore measurement of 73.1. That's the maximum industry standard for a passenger car. That's this opening right here. And why this is important is because the diameter of this is 59.1 millimeters, which means that you've got a lot of space in there and the wheel's not riding on the hub. Now, the hub is designed for the wheel to ride on it. The problem that I'm facing is that if the wheel's center bore is too large, then it can't ride on this hub, and it's actually riding on the lug nuts here. The problem with that is that the lug nuts are not designed nor engineered to carry the weight of the vehicle. This is called hub-centric, not lug-centric. Lug-centric is different. This is hub-centric. The lug nuts pull the wheel onto the mounting surface, and this friction is what keeps the wheel from spinning, not the lug nut itself. However, in order to center that, we need a tool. And these are really, really cheap. I got these for, I think, $11. And they make them in pretty much every size. You just need to know your model's center bore and your wheel's center bore. And you can grab these little spacers and throw them on there. They even make them in plastic, which is what I have on my town car up there. So, pop this bad girl on there. Look at that. Tailor-made. I always rotate that, so we got the one right in the middle. Easier for me to line it up, I think. Here we go. Now we can grab our new sweet chrome Gorilla lug nuts. and toss them on there. By the way, chrome ain't really my thing, but it's what I had in the basement, and quality lug nuts are actually a little expensive. I think it'd be about, what, 50 to 80 bucks for a good quality set of lug nuts. That just feels so much better. Let's compare that to one of these old ones. And wiggle that around. This one, way less. This one feels like it's tailor-made. This one, not so much. My neochrome days are over. So this is us pulling it, kind of pulling that spacer in. And I think it's probably just gonna stay in our wheel from now on. And then when we actually start working on these side guys too, gosh, look at that, the spin. Oof. We're gonna set this down, not putting the weight of the car on it, we're just touching the ground. That way the thing won't spin. By the way, when you're slapping these lug nuts on here, you want to go across from each other like that. And if you got 5, you do star pattern, whatever you like. But always go this one, this one, this one, this one, and then you want to go all the way around. So you're actually checking 8 times. So tight, 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 tight. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You count those, that way you don't end up with a loose lug nut. Be real crappy if you got some real nice wheels for a real nice car and they just fell apart on the highway. Anyways, look at that. You can't even tell from all the way up here, but it does look a lot better. I think these rusty lug nuts really dim the whole look of the thing, but yeah, nasty. And you can see that spacer's missing. The actual reason that I'm doing this today is not because I've ever really been concerned with safety. It's a really light car, and I used to not really give a crap. I was a young guy, not so young anymore, but now I'm realizing that this car has kind of a bump in her, you know, when you're going down the road. And it made me wonder, I've been through a lot of wheels in this car. Set of Koenig Heliums, some Borbet Type Cs, couple other SSRs, or XXRs, I should. Don't roast me in the comments, okay? Don't do it. Anyway, she got kind of a bounce in the back of her. It made me think, well, if it's not wheel related, maybe I'm not mounting the wheels the right way. And this is like a $11 fix. So we'll give this a shot, see if it fixes it. If not, we might actually have a bent wheel bearing or something back there. I don't know. That's one thing I actually really like about this car. The 59.1 millimeter hub. It's got a larger wheel bearing in it than a Honda Civic. And I think actually bigger than a Miata. So it makes me feel like this car is a little bit tougher, you know? More durable. So anyways, that's it. That's everything you need to know about getting new wheels for your car. That's how we figured out the wheels for this. Make sure you check out the links in the description. I don't get any money from it, but they've helped me an absolute ton. So make sure you check those out. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know what kind of car you have down in the comments and what wheels you put on it. I freaking want to see those so bad. So thanks again for watching Team Rocket Garage.